Nobles Tower by the developer Tiger. And I'm going to show you an apartment where my clients made an incredible profit. For those who don't know me yet, let me introduce myself. My name is Agata, and I've been living in Dubai since 2010. I've been investing here for about 10 years. Over the past 10 years, I've bought about a dozen properties here. I've bought, I've sold, and today I help mostly European investors do the same here in Dubai. Come with me. I'll show you a bit of the neighborhood before we start the apartment tour. As I mentioned, today we're in Business Bay. But we're not on the canal side. We're in a small block that's really at the crossroads of three main arteries of Dubai. There's Marassi Drive, which takes you straight to Business Bay and downtown in 3 minutes. By the way, there are scooters here, so you can use them to get to downtown and even Dubai Mall in just 3 minutes. You also have Ras Al Khor, which is just behind and will take you directly to Dragon Mart and Creek Harbor. And here you have Al Khail, which takes you to the Marina, Mall of the Emirates, and also towards Sharjah to the north. As you can see, we're really super close to downtown. We have a view of Lana Bay, Dorchester, and the Burj Khalifa. And in terms of neighbors, we also have some pretty nice ones. Right there, we have the hotel. SLS, which is a very well-known hotel. It's an international brand. And at the very top, there's a rooftop that's one of the most beautiful with an incredible view of downtown. There's also a Michelin-starred restaurant inside. Right next door, we have yesterday's development called Regalia. And over there, in the little corner, you can see District 1. And where the cranes are, that's where the future tower will be built. Bourges Bingati, which is in partnership with Jacob & Co. And it's going to be the tallest residential tower, the tallest in the world. In terms of small shops like that in this neighborhood, at the foot of the building, you have a small supermarket, salons, etc. And right across from here, you have this park, which is quite nice. And as a result, on this side and on the other, behind, you have a completely unobstructed view of everything around. And we're going to talk about it a lot during this video. The view is something crucial, and especially for this project, it was a huge advantage. Now that I've explained the project and the neighborhood to you, follow me, we're going inside. Now that we've toured the neighborhood, let's talk a little bit about the project. Here, we're in the Nobles Tower, which is being developed by a developer called Tiger. Tiger is a local developer who isn't exactly high-end. They've been here in the Emirates for about 40 years, and over these last 40 years, they've delivered more than 250 projects. So financially, they're extremely solid and very reliable. However, they're also known for their delivery delays. In fact, for this project, we've had quite a few delays, actually, and the quality isn't exactly top-notch either. On the other hand, the big advantage of this type of developer is that they offer very affordable prices and very attractive payment plans. For example, on this project, we have a post-handover payment plan of 4 years, covering 60%. That means our clients, to acquire this property, had to pay 40% of the property's value during construction, and the remaining 60% will be paid over 4 years after delivery. Not bad at all, right? In other words, and for this apartment, which cost a total of 300,000 euros, they only had to pay 125,000 euros. That corresponds to 40% of the property's value plus 4% registration fees in order to be able to rent it out. And they can resell it at any time. Now that you know all this, I'm sure you're eager to see the apartment. So follow me, we're going to visit it right now. Okay, now that you've seen the neighborhood and we've told you a bit about the project, I imagine you're really eager to discover the apartment. Follow me, you'll see what you can get with Tiger. In Business Bay for around 300,000 euros. So here we are in an apartment. 1 bedroom, so it's pretty simple. An open kitchen connected to the living room, a bedroom with its own bathroom, an additional bathroom, and a laundry room. Follow me, I'll show you everything in detail. So the layout is quite classic. Here we're going to see what's called the laundry room. Basically, it's a space for the washing machine, and you can even add a shelf above to create a bit of storage, especially for suitcases, etc. Because this is an apartment that's currently being used as a short-term rental. Here you have what's called the powder room. So basically, it's the guest restroom. It's just a toilet with a sink, really, to prevent your guests from having to go through your bedroom to wash their hands or use the restroom. So you often find this kind of thing in apartments in Dubai. Here, right as you enter, you have the kitchen. What's also important to know here is that everything was delivered just as it is. The only things we had to add were small appliances like the kettle, the coffee machine, toaster, bread maker, etc. but otherwise everything came with the apartment. So we have the range hood, the stove, the oven, and the fridge. And I think it's actually pretty good quality. If you look here, for example, the countertop is real stone. It's not tile or plastic like you might find with some developers, even some high-end developers. And even when it comes to the cupboards and so on, it's actually pretty nice. It all matches well, and the backsplash too, it's actually quite elegant. The only thing I might have a small issue with is that the fridge is visible. That's not really done much these days. Usually it's built in or integrated for aesthetic reasons, especially when you have a view of the living room. But honestly, I think it works just fine, especially for seasonal rentals. Now, let's move on to the living room. Here it's the same, pretty standard in terms of size. It's quite large compared to what's delivered nowadays. We have over 800 square feet for the one bedroom, so that's a little over 75 square meters. What's really important to understand here is that everything was delivered as is. Honestly, what we've added is just this vase, a picture frame over there, and the books. But aside from that, everything was provided by the developer. So there was nothing extra to add or spend for the client. This is from Tiger, the table and the chairs as well. The TV stand, the tables, the armchair, everything is custom made so that it fits perfectly in the apartment. And so that it's the right size, not too big, not too small. What's also important to see is this here, this wall covering. Here we have fabric panels with a stone frame. And this too, these are elements that really dress up the space and create a real effect, a hotel-like effect. So when you want to use the apartment for seasonal rentals, honestly, it's really great. It adds a very high quality touch. Also what's here, the boxing on the ceiling that hides things. So the air inlets for the AC units, and it allows for integrated spotlights. That too, I think, is quite high-end. It's really nice, and it was already delivered like this. And as for what's truly remarkable in this apartment, it's the view. And I've been telling you about it for a little while now. So let's go out onto the balcony. As you can see, it's a balcony that connects the bedroom and the living room. It's going to be a bit noisier when we step outside, but follow me, I'll show you the view we have. First, I'd like us to take a moment to look at the size, because the size of the balcony is actually quite nice. We're not just on a tiny balcony. Even after putting a table and chairs out here, there's still enough space to relax, to look around, and so on. And the view, let's start on the right. Over there, we have the obelisk. To the right, there's Healthcare City. All of that is the view of Healthcare City. Next, the large park area, all that greenery. Basically, that's what it is. That's Zabil Palace, which is the palace of the Sheikh of Dubai. In the distance over there, you can see the frame, and here you have the entire Dubai skyline with everything. DIFC, One Zabil, and so on. And of course, here we have an unobstructed view of Business Bay, the canal, and the Burj Khalifa. We go back down over there, and you have the entire canal with Business Bay. And in the distance, I don't know if you can see it because it's a bit hazy today, you have the Burj Al Arab and the marina. It's still incredible to have a view like this, so I'll let you enjoy it. So we're back inside. As I explained, just downstairs, we're actually right on three major roads in Dubai: Marasi, Ras Al Khor Road, and Al Khail. And so it's true that it's quite noisy, even though we're on the 41st floor. And as you can see, as soon as it's closed, you can't hear a thing anymore. It's extremely well soundproofed, especially with the glass and so on. I think they've really used high quality materials. But before we move on to the bedroom, I'd like to focus a bit on everything they've used in terms of switches, AC vents, and so on. For the air conditioning, they've gone with Schneider. And for the switches, they've chosen something quite stylish and discreet, which blends in really well, I think, with the rest of the apartment. It's Legrand. It's a French brand that's really high quality. So they've used good materials for this kind of thing. It's important to point that out. All right, let's head to the bedroom. Everything was here except for the TV, meaning the nightstands, the bed, the armchair over there in the corner, the light fixtures too. That was all here. Here as well, you find the same thing in terms of the false ceiling like this to hide the air conditioning vents and the spotlights. And we have these panels here. This time it's leather in the bedroom. Same thing, I think it looks really high quality and it really feels like you're in a hotel. It gives it that hotel look. And for short-term rentals, that's really great. As for storage too, the closets, there's a ton of space. I'll open them for you so you can really see what's there. We've got this here, wardrobes as well. There's a large wardrobe here and here, and we've got some cubbies. So honestly, it's great. Really lots of space, lots of storage, and it's perfect for short-term rentals. And again, a really beautiful view. I'll open the window for you just for fun. Plus, it's a super bright apartment and you get an incredible view from the bedroom too. Now let's check out the bathroom. Follow me. Same here, I think everything that's been used is actually quite tasteful. The color scheme is consistent with the bedroom and the living room. I think the style and materials are really nice. It's very understated and it does the job perfectly. The only thing is, well, the bathroom isn't super small. It would have been nice to have maybe 2 sinks. But then again, it's a 1-bedroom, so it's not really necessary. At least it gives you more space in the bathroom. By the way, I also want to point something out here. It's quite neutral, so clearly the goal is to appeal to as many people as possible. But still, there have been some efforts made in terms of style. For example, there's this tile here that you also find in the shower. There's a column that was created behind the toilet to clearly show that these are 2 separate spaces. This column with that tile is echoed in the shower. You can also see here that there is a small recess to create a bit of indirect lighting, maybe for when you get up at night or something like that. So in the end, I think there really is attention to detail here, even for something that was very affordable. With a developer like Tiger, who isn't necessarily the best developer on the market and doesn't have the best reputation, I think we can still say that here an effort was made, and as a result, the final outcome is actually really nice. What was crucial in buying this apartment was really the choice of the unit. Why? Because the tower, Tiger, the Nobles Tower, is really well located. It's right in Business Bay, 3 minutes from downtown, etc. It's great. And thanks to its size and location, it offers amazing views of downtown. And come with me, I'll show you something. When Nobles was under construction, there was already a tower right in front of it. And that the brochure didn't show. Follow me, I'll show you. Right there, actually, that's a tower called Uptown. And it was already built when construction started, but on the brochure, you couldn't see it at all. So the tower here has 45 floors in total. So people who were maybe sold apartments on the 18th or 20th floor thought, well, that's pretty good. It's a middle floor. Except those people, what they actually have is a direct view of the building right in front. So obviously they don't have a view of the Burj Khalifa at all. And even worse, their view is completely blocked by another building. And they're in the shade, almost in the dark, all day long. That actually highlights how important it is when buying remotely or off-plan to be able to visualize and do all these checks. You really need to go through people who are market professionals, who are on site, who know the area, and who are able to visit the location themselves for you to go and check these kinds of things. Again, that's not always the case. Sometimes you don't know what's going to be built next door. But when there's already something existing, and when you know that from this floor to that floor on this side, there's already a building that's going to block everything, it's super important because it's really all or nothing. You could end up with an apartment like this one, which has a magnificent view, has gained a lot of value over time, and rents out very easily with a great return. Or you could have something that's a burden you'll be stuck with for years. Because you have a terrible view, there's no natural light in the apartment, and you're stuck with an apartment that just looks out onto another building. And so, as a result, it doesn't rent, it doesn't sell, and it's really a hassle. So that's super important. Always try to picture yourself in the place. Honestly, I always tell you, this view, I imagined it the very moment I sold this apartment. So it's extremely important to anticipate these kinds of things and to get support from agents, professional and caring ones, who will have your best interests at heart and will make sure you get the best units. So now that we've seen the apartment and the breathtaking view, I'm really going to talk numbers because that's what we're here for. We're here to invest and to look for returns. This is an apartment that was bought for around 286,000 euros, to which about 11,500 euros in DLD fees were added. So that's 4%. So we have a total price of 297,500 euros, including acquisition fees. Today, this apartment can generate a net long-term rent of 32,000 euros, because thanks to the view, the floor, and so on. You can rent it for 140,000 dirhams minus the fees, which are about 3,000 euros per year. That comes out to a net rent of around 32,000 euros. So already, with this kind of return, net in the long term, on the total price of the apartment, we are looking at about a 10% net yield after deducting the long-term charges. So that's already a really great performance. But remember, we have a payment plan here with about 60% of the apartment that hasn't been paid yet and will be paid over the next 4 years. So what the owner of this apartment has paid so far is only 125,000 euros. So that's 40% of the apartment price plus the 4% DLD fees. So actually, when we calculate the yield, the return on investment from the rent collected, the net annual rent versus the amount that has been paid so far, we're actually looking at a net rental yield, an equity return of over 25%. Honestly, that's incredible. Of course, this is something that will decrease gradually as we pay from one year to the next. But today, at the time of delivery, that's the kind of yield we're seeing. Honestly, it's crazy. Remember, when we made the first video, which was just before the delivery, my client had received an offer for 400,000 euros. So they had already made a latent capital gain of 100,000 euros compared to the purchase price. They did well to wait. At the time, they waited. And today, they've received a new offer for 500,000 euros, which is 2 million dirhams. And by the way, there's an apartment of the same type, just 2 or 3 floors below, on the 38th floor that was sold at the end of April for 510,000 euros. So they've had 2 offers that they turned down because today they prefer to wait. They firmly believe in Dubai's long-term vision. They're extremely happy with the quality they've received. And actually their strategy today is to wait for the apartment to increase in value over the coming months and years. And in the meantime, they're renting it out short-term to maximize profitability. Honestly, I think it's a great strategy. I hope the future proves them right. So here you get a little glimpse of the common areas. As you can see, they've put up wallpaper on the walls, not just paint. So it looks pretty classy. The door frames as well, I think they're pretty nice. Here they're made of wood with a bit of a marble effect, and the door numbers always large for the doorbell. I think it's quite high quality. And on the side of the hallway, pretty clever. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but usually in places used for Airbnb or hotels, when people come with suitcases, the lower parts of the hallways often get damaged. And here they've put in this tiling to protect it a bit. I think it's actually a good idea and well thought out. Now follow me, we're going to see the rest. We're going to try to access the pool and the gym. As for amenities, it's pretty standard. Pool, gym, a small outdoor area to walk around. We're not going to show much of the pool because there are people swimming. So it's not really allowed, but there you go, it's right there. We have a little space to relax in the evening, a bit after work. Punching bag, because actually the gym is right here. We'll go check it out in a bit. In terms of amenities, we also have the changing rooms. So here, quickly, we have some small lockers here. Here we have a sauna. Pretty cool, right? Here, these are the restrooms. And here we have a steam room. Now we're heading to the gym. This is the gym, or at least the first part of it. So here you have all the weights, the treadmills. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed. On the other side, there are machines I've never seen in my life. I'm a bit impressed. I'm used to seeing gym facilities in buildings in Dubai, and I find this one is extremely well equipped. There's really everything you could need. Now we're trying to find the area for kids, the jogging track, barbecue area, etc. We can't find it, so in the meantime, we'll show you the parking lot. All apartments in Dubai come with parking, even studios. And this is what it looks like. So just so you know, we're on P4, which means we're on the podium level, level 4. Unlike in Europe, where parking is usually underground, here the parking is on the podium level. So usually you have the lobby, then several floors of parking, and then the apartments start. So generally, when you're on the first floor, you're actually at what would be the 5th or 6th floor in terms of height. All right, follow me. We're going to try to find it. Find what we're looking for. All right, so the kids' playground is here, but it's a bit disappointing. Your children really have to be quite young to have fun here. But at least it has the merit of existing. If you have young children, at least they can have a little fun here. But it shows that the building, so it's not really something that's family-oriented. It's more for 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom units, and really it's something intended for Airbnb rentals rather than a family-oriented building. So this is the barbecue area. So same thing here, you have a sort of summer kitchen, you can bring a barbecue and then enjoy, invite friends and use this space to get together. Well, it's not amazing. We have a view of the amenities from the other building. In general, to be honest, these aren't really the kinds of things people use very often in buildings anyway. And even the jogging track is pretty basic, I would say. I think that every 10 seconds you have to turn around, but at least it has the merit of being there too. There you go. Now I've explained everything to you. We're coming to the end of the video, and I'd like you to tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were in my client's place? Would you have trusted me and gone for a project like this one with a great location, a very good payment plan, a very good price, but a developer who isn't quite at the top yet and is in the process of completely changing their positioning? In any case, these clients and many others put their trust in me, and today they don't regret it at all. And if that's your case, if you're thinking about investing in Dubai and you're still considering it, don't hesitate to contact us, whether it's me or a member of my team. We'll be very happy to support you with your project. In the meantime, I'll see you soon in the next video.